Good evening. Welcome to Urban Facts. I'm your host, Eamon Hotep,
And I'm Ambrielle Parker.
and today we will be evaluating the election of 2024. So, hope you guys are ready. So, um, as you all know, the 2024 election, the winner was President-elect Donald Trump. Um, Now, don't get me wrong, you guys can vote for whoever you feel is. I'm sorry, I was trying to fix my camera there. Whoever you feel is the right person for you. Um, in regards to voting, so um, a lot of people that I've talked to in regards to the election, just from interactions with folks, people at work or family members or friends. A lot of people felt that Kamala Harris was not qualified to be in the election as president, to be a president of the United States. I found that to be very unfair and very much untrue. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the election compared to the election of 2008. Now, I know a lot of people may be saying, well, why are we going back so far? Because we want to see the impact of the black vote. So we're going to dive right into that. So let me pull up here our information here. So, all right, but so we got that. All right, now we're going to share this screen. And please, if you're on watching us, please share with your friends. We really think this is some real important information that we want to share with you guys. So, all right, so now here is the map of 2008. So if you are familiar with election map, the blue is for the Democrats. The Democrat at this particular year was Barack Obama, and the red, that's Republican, and the Republican for that year is John McCain. Now, the blue is the states that's in blue is the states that Barack Obama won. The ones that's in red are the ones that John McCain won. So hold on, let me make this just the center of the presentation here so you guys can see. All right, but so I know you may be asking, what's so important about this? What's so important about this is that in 2008, Barack Obama won by an increasingly amount of votes. So let me pull this up right here. So he had a total electoral count of 365 votes. And he also won the popular vote. John McCain had 173. So now, why is this important? This is important because black people showed up to vote. Let's go to. Actually, I was supposed to pull up another electoral map. So let's see here. For 2020. There you go. So we're going to pull this one up here. What's the 2024? Where's 2028? All right, here it is right here. I'm sorry, 2016, not 2020. We'll pull that up real fast. All right, there you go. Trying to get that one in there. Also, we can just pull that up, I guess. All right, then. So I'm gonna share this screen here so you guys can check it out. So now we're going to share another screen. We're going to go to the map, the electoral map from 2016. So there we go. Bam. So, all right. So as you can see, the electoral map of 2016, a lot of blacks didn't show up to vote. The blues are very significantly lower than what it was from 2008. Now, what's that saying? What that is saying is that a lot of black people did not show up to vote in 2016, and that's very true. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming the results of the election on the fact that blacks didn't come out to vote. That's kind of hard to say because if they would have turned out to vote, then maybe the election would have been different. So I guess I am saying it. You come out to vote, and it's a difference in the results of who you want to be president, who you don't want to be president. But you have to come out and vote. And as you can see, we're gonna go back to 2008. See what's happening. Black people came out to vote. See all these states right here? Black people. Now, these ain't all black people. I'm not saying that all black people was in these states. But this is a lot of black folks in these states that came out to vote. Like all around there. Right there. Now, you're probably saying, well, how you know that? Now, think about it. This was the first time that an African-American male ran for president. This was a historic event. I remember that. 2008, people made sure that I voted. People made sure that their sons voted, their grandmothers voted, the neighbors, the aunts, their uncles, everybody. It was such a big deal that the first black man would have became president of the United States. So that's how I know that. Because if this was like Mitt Romney, or I don't even know who the Democratic nominee would have been. I mean, people he was running against back in 2008. But if this was just a white guy, those numbers wouldn't be like that. Now, I'm not racist. I'm just stating the fact. So now, let's look at the map from the current map, 2024. So the current map for 2024, I should have had these side by side, but we're going to make it work. So Barack Obama won. Now we're going to go kind of back and forth, so bear with me. So Nevada, the Barack Obama won Nevada in 2008. Harris didn't. Harris won. New Mexico. Barack Obama won New Mexico. All right, now go over to the eastern side of the western side. I'm sorry, the eastern side of the United States. So Barack Obama won Florida. There you go right there. Harris did not win Florida. Harris did not win Pennsylvania. Barack Obama won Pennsylvania. He also won North Carolina. Harris did not win North Carolina. Barack Obama won Virginia. Harris did not win Virginia. See how blue it is on that side? He also won Ohio. Harris did not win Ohio. It's clear. You can't just vote for things that you think that will benefit you. And that's what happened that year. There was going to be a black president. Blacks going to probably take over. We about to get this. We about to get that. And what happened was that when that didn't happen, blacks started turning on Barack Obama and saying, well, you ain't do nothing for blacks. Everything that the president does is not going to be front page news. You have to do the research. That's why I always tell my kids, do the research. You know what I mean? So you have to do the research in regards to, the information that you put out there. Or the information won't be correct. So we're going to pull up some more information for you guys in regard. Now, this is the history we're going to dive into. So let's look and see. All right, so let's pull up our screen here. So, white men aged 21 and older who own property were given the right to vote in 1776. Now, you can look that up. That's on the NAACP's webpage if you care to, know that information. Now, let's go to the next slide. So, all right, the 15th Amendment to the Constitution removed racist barriers to voting in 1870, but states continued to practice voter discrimination and continued to deny blacks voters a chance to participate in elections. Now, you might not really understand what it actually means to vote. So we're going to look at that also. So let's look at this here. All right. So let's look at what is it to vote? So voting gives you the power to create positive change for your community and to determine a better quality of life for you and your family. Now, some people, they don't believe that. They don't believe that my one vote won't have a whole lot of change in regards to an election. But it actually does. So, hold on one second. But it actually does. So, the one vote may not look that, if you got like 1 million voters out there and you feel as though that my vote compared to the 1 million won't make a difference, that one vote compared to the millions of people that actually voted won't make a difference. However, that mindset of not voting because your one vote won't make a difference can spread to millions of people. So now the rights that we had to fight for back in I think that's, hold on, let me see, so I won't be wrong here. Let's see here. Back when the 15th Amendment was passed. Alexa, when was the 15th Amendment passed?
The 15th Amendment was ratified on February 3rd, 1870.
1870. So from 1870 to right now, that was years ago, decades ago, we had to fight for the right to vote for black men. Now let's look at some more information. So we looking at, let's see. All right, so that's it right there. So now we're gonna look at the 15th Amendment. 15th Amendment to the Constitution removed racial barriers in voting in 1870, but states. Oh yeah, we're gonna look at the next one. I'm sorry, I just read it. So now, that's not the slide I'm looking for. All right, Voting Rights Act. It is outlawed. It outlawed the discriminatory voting practices adopted in many southern states after the Civil War, including literacy tests as a prerequisite to voting. So that's also on the NAACP's website. I'll leave that up for a little bit. So if you want to take a picture of it, or you can always just rewind back. So, with that being said, it took a lot for us to get to the point to just vote, just period, just to vote. So now we at this position now at present day where we feel as though that our vote may not make a difference. In the long run, you might not see the changes. You may vote for schools to give out free lunch, during that election. But you might not see the change until X amount of time down the line, because it still has to go through like the governmental process. It actually has to be set up, for that to happen, so on and so forth. So it's not going to be overnight. And then there are some changes in your vote that you won't see at all. So just like I just said, with the lunch program enacted in schools, that's not going to be frontline news. So you might not see that. Now, a lot of people didn't appreciate the fact that Barack Obama made it legal for same-sex marriages in the United States. For the country, for the states that didn't allow that. But that was front page news because that was like a big thing. It was something that was like mainstream, versus, the luncheon program at your public schools. But see, a lot of people felt as though, like I said, that Barack Obama was going to get in office and he was going to make a difference for blacks. A lot of the differences he made for blacks wasn't front page news. Like Barack Obama gave a lot of money to HBCUs. That wasn't front page news. You know what I mean? He also, as far as our culture, he made a milestone in our history in regards to becoming the first black African American president. Barack Obama today is the most influential politician, celebrity, writer, producer that there is. I mean, not the number one. I'm not saying he Denzel Washington. But when people go out to vote, or they start their campaigns and things like that, Barack Obama is the centerpiece for the Democratic Party. You know what I mean? They want him to come out because they got a lot of positive things to say. You have to remember that the president of the United States is the president of the United States, not the president of a certain section of people. So let's keep that in mind. So, all right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so now we're going to look at this here. The provisions to the Voting Act. So, Originally, legislators hoped that within 5 years of its passage, that's when the Voting Act was first passed, issues surrounding the 1965 Voting Acts would be resolved in regards to, some racial division, discrimination, things of that sort. And there would be no further need for its enforcement-related provisions. However, they were wrong. Congress had to extend these provisions in 1970, 1975, 1982, and most recently, 2007. This time for 25 years. So you're paying attention to the number after it says 25 years period, it says 2032. That's when our right to vote expires. So remember all that stuff I said? You voting to make a change and, for your community and your family and your friends. Let's go back to that so we can look at that there. I gotta hurry up. All right. So let's look at that here. So besides the fact that it's gonna make a change for your family, your friends, and community, voting together with neighbors, family, and friends assures that your shared values and issues are prioritized, and you play the key role in choosing who represents us and where government funding resources will go. I'm so glad I read that. Because you want to know who did that? MAGA Republicans. Now, values and moral rights and views, how you see things, that's not always right or wrong. Hitler had values in regards to killing Jews because he felt that he wasn't, as good as Germans, or they was, however his crazy views was seen. So all these people came together for the person that they wanted to see in the office. But us as blacks, we didn't. We could have made history again, electing the first black, Asian, Pacific Islander female as the president of the United States. And it wasn't just blacks, but the majority of them was. You've seen the map from 2008. We have to learn how to come together in unity. So let's go back to some more information here. So we looked at that, Voting Rights Act. All right, so all right, hold on. There you go. So let's look at how America views us as blacks. Now, these three amendments right here affect us all, blacks as a whole. 13th Amendment, blacks set free. 14th Amendment, citizenship granted. 15th Amendment, black men given the right to vote. 19th Amendment, women given the right to vote. In none of these categories do you see white anything. So I'm going to go over one more time. So 13th Amendment, blacks set free.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa, stop. So it doesn't say anything about along with whites or people set free or whatever like that. From what I was taught, all people were free. 14th Amendment, citizenship granted. Now, when the colonialists came over, they started this country. That's another topic. And they, became citizens. So who they grant citizenship for wasn't whites. 15th Amendment, black men, not white men, given the right to vote. You already seen when they was given the right to vote. 1776, if you own property, which was blacks was considered property back then, along with horses, cars, or houses, you could vote. If you didn't have any of that, you couldn't vote. So they was even racist towards their own people. And then the 19th Amendment, women had the right to vote. So, like I said, you can vote for whoever you want to. It doesn't make me a difference. What does make a difference is when you have these crazy theories and you don't do enough research to look at the people that you're trying to put in office. Did I agree with everything Kamala Harris did? No, I did not. But were her views and policies much different and better than Donald Trump? Yes, they were. So let's take a gander here. Let me introduce you to Project 2025. Project 2025 is a 90-page doctrine that was constructed by the Heritage Foundation, and it gives it recommends executive powers to the person that's in office. The person that will be in office in 2025 will be Donald Trump. So let's just read how some of these things first affect blacks, African Americans, people of color. First things affected by blacks is equality under fire, threats to civil rights protections, and equal opportunity. If you are a history scholar, you would already know that affirmative action has been removed from colleges. You can Google that on your own time. Threats to providing black students with a safe, inclusive, and quality education. Doesn't say college students, doesn't say elementary, middle school, high school, black students. And let me let you guys be aware, there's nothing stopping this from going forward. Rights, risk to voting rights, democracy and black political power. Counterproductive public safety proposals. That's basically your health. The urgent need to protect and expand equal access to housing. If you think it's hard to buy a house now, wait till this comes into play, if it does. The urgent need to protect and expand equal access to housing. Oh, hold on, I just read it. Healthcare at risk. Resisting threats to the safety and well-being of the planet and its human inhabitants. I know that sounds depressing. It was depressing for me to read it. But this is the person that could possibly, Donald Trump is the person that could possibly put these rights into play, because he'll be the president. Now let's think about something though. I'm not saying it's going to be guaranteed that this stuff is going to happen, but it's a possibility. Now, as far as passing laws, first time he was in office, the man didn't get not one single law passed. So I don't think Congress, hopefully, will not allow a lot of these things to come to pass. Now, as far as executive orders are orders that the president deems necessary in regards to the safety and well-being of the United States. This guy has no regard to the safety and well-being of the United States. Moving forward, I'm going to just say president-elect. He doesn't even deserve his name to be mentioned on this podcast. So, for all you women out there that didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because you felt as though that she wasn't fit to be the president, Let's just see what Project 2025 has for women. A tax on protections against sex discrimination and other forms of discrimination. That means if your boss decides to fill you up in the lunchroom, you might not have no protection against that underneath Project 2025. A tax on reproductive rights and access to health care. Some states allow this. Project 2025 is talking about this happening across the board, all 51 states. A tax on education. A tax on the workplace justice. Excuse me. Doubling down on tax cuts for the rich at the expense of working families. That means that taxes for rich will go up, working families' taxes will go up. Higher. I'm sorry. Taxes for the rich will go down, working families' taxes will go up. I'm sorry. A tax on income, Social Security, housing, nutritious access programs. Basically, what I'm saying is PHA, food stamps. Like you at risk of losing that. A tax on immigrant families. Let me make this kind of clear for some of us. We're all immigrant families. This wasn't like, if you notice, you normally, like if you come from like a particular country, let's say Ireland, then you speak. So me and Ambrielle going to do a game. So Ambrielle, if you're from France, you speak what?
French.
Right. So Ambrielle, if you from Ireland, you speak what?
Irish.
Okay. Ambrielle, if you from any Spaniard state, you speak what? Well, country or colony, you speak what?
Spain. With Spain, you said?
Places like Mexico, Spain.
Oh, sorry. I was glitching. You see Spanish.
Right. If you from England, you speak what?
English.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Ambrielle, if you're from the United States, do you speak American?
I speak English. Well, there's no such thing as American.
Right. Why is there no such thing?
Because mainly all Americans speak. Well, not all Americans, but most Americans. It's not like a specific language for America. It's just English.
Exactly. That's because America doesn't have its own language. It's a created country. I'm sorry. So we all speak the King's English from England. And if you really look at it, like I just showed you from the 14th to the 15th to the 16th Amendment, they could just cross those amendments out. And then we, first of all, we won't be free. And technically, we all immigrants because nobody here, excuse me, as far as like theoretically, when you look at it, nobody really has like a origin set here in America. Like Ambrielle said, if you're from France, you speak French. From Ireland, you speak Irish. You from America, you speak English, just like English. So we all have the capacity that of all of us being immigrants here in America. So where it says on 2025, a tax on immigrant families, unfortunately, blacks fall in that category if they remove one of those amendments. So this is what we're looking at. So let's look at the person, president-elect, that we put into office. All right, so president-elect is a racist. Let's look at a tweet. Ambrielle, read that tweet.
And viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how.
So at that particular time, president-elect was referring to women of color that were in Congress. Ilhan Omar and the other congressmen in regards to things that, he was doing in his first term as president. Now, I'm not making this up because I don't have to make this up. Like this, that's his tweet. That's from Twitter when it was called Twitter. So now we're going to look at something else. All right, wait a minute here. So let's remove this. All right, stop sharing. We're going to share a video file. All right, give me a minute here, people. Give me a minute here. All right, wait a minute. I might have to actually just play it. I'm sorry. So, the Central Park Five were 5 young men that were blamed for the actual rape of a white woman in Central Park, which was totally untrue. But
you better believe
our president-elect, made it true. He believed that these men, these were actually boys at the time, should be sent to jail. All right, so Mr. Tyreek, Central Park 5, pled guilty. If you are familiar with history, they were forced to plead guilty. Look at the documentary. They were young youth. They wasn't going to be released until they pled guilty. So,
Can I say something on
something
that?
better than that. Go ahead. You can say something.
Okay. So, I did watch the documentary. It's called When They See Us. You should check it out. So it's they was in there for like more than 24 hours, withheld any food, withheld any type of drink or nothing, and they were forced to say that they pled guilty. This lady didn't give them any choice. If you watch the documentary, these boys did not do this, and they were forced to say that okay, I did it, because they were put in difficult situations, so that they just said anything so that they can go home. They didn't know that at the time it would be consequences to what they said. Watch the documentary.
Yeah, hear that, Mr. Tyreek? Watch the documentary, Doc. We're not trying to make you seem like a fool or anything like that, but all you gotta do is just do your research. Like you just commented. Let's put your comment up. Well, I want to make it seem like it's unfair. Doesn't matter. John Q. Public did not know at that time. Well, that's why you have to do your research. At that time, didn't nobody really know if these young men raped that woman or not. We know now, according to the documentary. Yeah, so unfortunately, Mr. Tyreek, we're not going to go into a debating match with you with wrong information. You know what I mean? So, as my viewers know, we only put out succinct, true information. And unfortunately, the facts that you are presenting are wrong. So, please do your research because we're talking about the lives of innocent children. So you trying to debate with me in regards to what young men did and was later years down the line, because those guys was locked up for a while, that they were innocent. It doesn't hold water here. So let's see what President-elect had to say about the Central Park file.
You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally. You better believe it.
Suspicious rape and beating of a 30-year-old investment banker, Tricia Miley, who was jogging in Central Park last night. 5 youths are in custody and are being questioned. The youngest is only 13.
Trump put his money where his mouth is by taking out this full-page ad in 4 New York City newspapers. Bring back the death penalty.
When I first saw this ad that Donald Trump made, I knew that this famous person calling for us to die was very serious.
5 teens between the ages of 15 and 17 were charged with numerous rape, sodomy, and assault counts.
In 1989, myself and 4 other individuals were arrested and falsely accused of raping the Central Park jogger in a case that became widely known as the Central Park jogger case. We became known as the Central Park Five. In 2002, we were found to be innocent after the real perpetrator came forward, and that was confirmed by DNA evidence.
All of the defendants gave videotaped statements to police, implicating themselves or others. But some of their attorneys charged today that police obtained the confessions by force.
People wanted to see how the justice system was working. And so they were looking at this case as a litmus test to see whether the justice system would actually be just or not. And
So, this is another fact that President-elect is racist. Like I said, I don't put out information that I don't know about. I teach that to my children. I tell my children, don't say anything that you do not know what you're talking about. Is that a true statement, Ambrielle? We can't really hear you. I'm sorry.
All right, I was saying yes. I didn't know I was muted.
Okay. So now, for women that voted for Mr. Trump, this guy is a racist. I mean, a rapist. I'm sorry. He is accused of sexual assault. So before we get into that, let's look at the differences between the two. A rapist is someone that forces themselves in a sexual act of intercourse. So that's rape. Sexual assault is uninvited sexual behavior on another individual. So let's look at some information here. I guess we gotta pull it up here. All right, so we got that about Ilhan Omar. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to get on here and debate with somebody. That's not what I'm doing. So, I mean, even though me and Mr. Tyreek did share some information. So, now here is a court document. Let's look at this, the court verdict. So no, I did not make this up. This is an actual court filing from the United States Court, Southern District of New York. Eugene Carroll, the plaintiff against President-elect, and this is the verdict form. He's charged with battery. Did Ms. Carroll prove by the preponderance of evidence that Mr. Trump raped Ms. Carroll? No, she did not prove that. Did Ms. Carroll prove by the preponderance of evidence that Mr. Trump sexually assaulted her? Yes, she proved that. You answer yes to that. Oops, sorry. You answer yes to that. Skip to number 4. Did Miss Carroll have injuries as a result of Mr. Trump's conduct? Yes, she proved that and was awarded $2 million. He sexually assaults women. I didn't make that up. You, as a person, as any person, we have the right to vote. We have the right to freedom of speech. We have the right to make fair decisions. We have the right to public assembly, bear arms, and all that type of things. But these rights are only necessary when you know how to rightfully use them. And we also have the right to vote, like I said. As a people, we have to understand that at one time, Black people and women did not have the right to do these things, like to vote. And for you not to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris for whatever reason, some Black men said that I'm not voting for her because she's a woman and a woman is not fit to run the country. Now, before I go forward, I'm going to let Ambrielle speak in regards to that statement. So, Ambrielle, how do you feel about what I just said? Or do you need me to repeat it?
No, you don't have to repeat it. I heard what you said. I believe that many of Black men, I don't think they were really thinking. I think that was an ignorant thing to say, because being as though many people, like, why would, because women is actually very powerful. So I think Kamala Harris is actually a very powerful person. I feel like that is a sexist viewpoint because she's just a woman. Like, that's, most of men have daughters, and you just saying, now if your daughter was to run for president, you wouldn't appoint her because she's a woman. So like, that's something like that's sexist. Women, being a woman does not disqualify you from running for president. I feel like, because like Hillary Clinton did it and she didn't do it, and she didn't really win. Shirley Chisholm, she didn't do it. She didn't win either because she was also Black and she was a woman as well. See, like, the idea of just being a woman is just like, you not fit to run a whole country, when some women even run a whole house by themselves, single mothers. Like, I feel like women have, they're really the mothers of this country, if you think about it. And they're way stronger and way independent and make many people set them out to believe. I feel like the TV has put like this image of women as being gullible and very emotional, when that's not very true. Like, me and my sisters, we are very strong, very powerful. Maya, she's going to be a lawyer. Amani's going to be a, a director. I don't know. And so we're going to do these powerful positions and careers because we know we can. Women are not just strippers or just the left hand side to a man. So that was like a very sexist viewpoint to think that just because she's a woman, she's not qualified to run a country. That's very sexist to believe. Yeah.
Very good. And I agree. Unfortunately, Ambrielle, not only do men believe that, but women do too. The proof is just, I mean, you can ask people, you go on social media, it's people on there that believe that president-elect is going to make a difference in politics, that he's going to make a difference in families and homes. Now, remember I said that the president of the United States is just that, the president of the United States, not president of Black people, not president of Asians, whites, Hispanics, Puerto Ricans. The United States. The United States is the melting pot of a variety of people. And as the president, you have to have the well-being of all those people at your best interest. You work for us as the president. Did we not forget about January 6th? Let's look it up. So January 6th was the result of the last election that he lost, president-elect, and he wasn't too fond about it. He was pretty mad about it. So we're gonna look at some stuff here. All right, so we're gonna pull this up. Let me see here. So you guys can see it real fast. So let me see. All right, there you go. Now this is from YouTube. So we're gonna pull that up. We're gonna play that there.
They're trying to get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
325 to 50 be advised, Cal Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get to the Capitol.
We have a breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol!
I didn't make that footage up. That was a riot that President-elect incited his last loss for president. You don't incite something that attacks democracy. If you lose, you lose. I ain't win at everything. Ambrell didn't win at everything. Amaya, Amani, Jordan didn't win at everything. If you want to win, you have to train to get to that point. You have to do things that's going to enable you to be a winner. Inciting riots don't do that. But like I said earlier in this podcast, a bunch of group of people came together. They unified. Now, unity isn't a positive or negative word either. Came together and they selected somebody that they wanted to be the president. From their unification, President-elect won. So,
okay. So
go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think that this goes to show that how powerful a group of people can really be. I feel like that if the Black communities really come together, this shows that we can really do. I mean, that was a very bad thing to do. Let's not storm the Capitol, but the Black community can come together. You see how powerful those people were. Just imagine the whole Black community. Like, if we came together for Kamala, she would have had so many points. I mean, so many electoral votes. So.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's coming from a ninth grader. I mean, I ain't trying to put no shade on her. You know what I mean? But if she knows this, what's wrong with some of the people in our community? Here's something that you may not get that you're probably looking forward to. I got about 6 minutes. You're not getting no stimulus check because we're not in a recession. We're not in a pandemic. We're not in an epidemic. We're not into anything. So there's no reason to hand out money. So right now, we're under the economy of Joe Biden, which he's brought up significantly well after the disastrous handlings of Donald Trump. So it won't be a need for stimulus checks because the economy is fine. All that extra money doing the tax returns and, people filing and getting all kinds of crazy money, assistance and programs, and the COVID financial programs will not be existent because we're not under threat of that. The only thing that you're going to get from this new president, well, once again president, is the narcissism of himself. Like Ambrielle said, if blacks just came together as a people. Now, our origins don't even come from a society that practices individualism. We come from a society that practices collectivism. That means as a people, we work together. Individualism is like every man for himself. However, once we got over here in this melting pot called America, it doesn't really have its own culture. I mean, it has worldview culture and things like that. It doesn't have its own language. We share language with England. Individualism won. However, collectivism won during the election. There's a bunch of people unified together, and they made sure that they man came out on top. Now, he came out on top for them. I don't know about the country. It just the stories that I've heard. I had a young lady text me. She stated that she feared for her life that this guy became president again. Students at schools were asking administration, black students, does this mean I'm going to be a slave again? Does it mean that? You're not going to become a slave again. But just a simple thought that kids have that mindset because they can see the evil that has been unleashed. And we can, well, not me. Some people in the black community can, the inner city can, because they're too busy focused on individualism. You can't come together as a society and you're just thinking about yourself. A society is a collective of people, not a collection of individuals, not a collection of people doing things individually. But I'm going to close out in prayer for our country, for our children, for the community, because God knows we need it. So, Father God, I thank you for removing the dead skin from our eyes so we can see the real reality of what this president will bring forth. Father God, I ask you to help the black community to be more of a stronger impact, to stand on the basis of unity, the way we once did during the civil rights movement. Father God, I ask you to form a hedge of protection around us and have the ones that do know that unity matters stand in the gap to protect us. Lord, comfort our children of the United States. Comfort the United States. Excuse my French, because it's going to be a hell of a ride. Lord, we know that all things are possible through you. Doesn't matter who the president is, that you are our comforter and our savior. In your most holy name I pray. Amen. My name is Eamon Hotep Parker. I am the CEO of the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation. Thank you for tuning in.